wanted to talk to you about the pros and cons of both, because I've done both and I actually currently host both, and they're very different. There's a lot of similarities, but there actually are a few significant differences. And in this business, I always want to keep it real about what work it goes into hosting. So for your short-term rentals, let's go through that and explain to you kind of what that looks like. Big picture, a short-term rental is going to be more work than a midterm rental, because a short-term rental, you're going to be turning your unit over pretty much every week, sometimes a couple times a week. With a midterm rental, you're getting the unit totally prepped for that long-term guest, and then they're staying for 30, 60, 90 days, potentially more. So that will only require that one flip or cleaning, readying of the unit for check-in, and then you're kind of putting it on autopilot until that guest checks out. Now on the back end, you're probably going to have a little more deep cleaning to do than you would on a regular flip for someone who stayed, say, 2 to 3 nights. So there is a big difference there between the short-term and the midterm rental in terms of the work involved. And then with the short-term, you're typically going to be communicating with the guest more. They're a little more high maintenance, not in a bad way, but they can be a little bit more high maintenance. Whereas a midterm rental, you're doing a lot of work on the front end to understand who you're going to be hosting. You're giving them all the house rules. You're usually meeting them at the property to get them checked in, lay of the land, and then they're set. They're going to get into their work mode, and you're probably not going to hear from them very much. So then the other difference that's can be pretty big between a short-term and midterm model is the finances. So your hard costs are going to be typically the same, right? You're going to have your utilities, your consumables, those types of things. So for the short-term model, the profits can be higher. With a midterm, you're still making good money, but it's not going to be as much as the short-term rental because it's going to be a fixed monthly rate. And then with the short-term model, you're going to have more cleaning fees. So you're going to have more opportunities for extra revenue with the short-term model. So it's really all about figuring out what best fits your goals. And I talk a lot about what is your why.